Welcome to our live instructional webinar designed to support the school annual yearbook program. Today we'll be focusing on functions that relate to building activity or candid pages. Specifically, we will be reviewing page bleeds and margins, the toolbar, design functions, templates, click and go templates, custom templates, and themes. This webinar will be approximately 30 to 40 minutes, um, most likely 45. So let's begin. Let's first talk about bleeds and margins. That's what we have up here in the screen. And we're going to explain the concept of the bleed, address the gray area that you see here, as well address the blue line and the red line that you see. And we're going to address types of inside the blue and the no man's land. So first we're going to talk about the bleed margin. So right here in this gray area, you will see that it says caution all bleeds must extend past one pica from the red line, this red line right here underneath the words. So what we mean by that is if we take this blue right here and we were to rest it right here and we go to cut the pages, there is a 1/8 inch plus or minus in cutting these. And this all depends on the blade. If the blade is sharp, it could be the operator, it could be the paper, it could be a number of different things at the time of cutting it. And so what this does is make sure that when we cut it, when we bring something up past the bleed section, when we cut it, we don't end up with a little white line right there on your page. We make sure that the full blue is all the way up to where it got cut. So that's what this area right here is. So anything past this red line right here is going to get trimmed, and we'll talk more about how to prevent some images from getting trimmed here. And so first we're going to address this blue line right here. This blue line right here is where everything inside this blue line, where this blue box is your working area. And we'll take a look at that here real quick. So this whole blue line right here, this is your working area. So everything in here, you can put your designs, your images, and all that in there without worry about them being cut too short or having parts of it cut off. Everything in the red area right here, as you can see right here, is in the red area. This little area in between the blue and the red line is what we call the no man's land. This is where some images might be able to sit comfortably without the worrying of them being too much being taken off of them, or maybe the tops of heads being taken off. And we'll show that here in a minute. All right. And so what we mean by that, and let's zoom back in here. So we're going to come to images, and I have a few images right here. So if I put this image right here, we can see that the image is fine. We're going to be able to see this image, no problem. If I take this image and put it up here, we can see that we might have a little bit of an issue. I could take this image right here. I could put this image right here, and we can see that we won't really have an issue too much. Now, when we talk about that plus and minus, we can come up here and we can bring this little bar right here and right here. So when we zoom in right here, we can see what we're talking about uh, with the bleed area in the plus and minus. If we were to leave this photo right here, as you can see that it's going to get chopped off somewhere in between these two lines right here. So all you're going to see is the top of, um, basically all you're going to see of that image is right here. That's all you're going to see of the image. So this is why we have to be careful about how we place images. Even with this one, you can see that if we bring it back down here, that's all you're going to see of that image. And this may not be something you want to do. Some parents may have issue with, some of their child's image is, not visible in the yearbook. We come over to this image, we can see that this image, we could be fine with this image because some of this will get, you can still see the arm is fine, the top of the head is okay. If you ever need to see where roughly the image might get cut, you can come up here to this print preview. It's this little print icon right underneath the cell. We can click here. Yes, we're going to see our changes. It will print out a PDF. And then here you go. This dotted line right here, that's your trim line. It even says trim line right here in red. So here's your trim line, and it will tell you exactly where this book or where this page roughly is getting trimmed. So at any time you want to make sure your images are okay, or if they're in this, what we call this no man land right here, you can do a print preview, make sure everything is fine. So next we're going to go to Designer Basics. We're going to talk about the toolbar, the tabs, the ruler and guides, add photo boxes, add a shape box, add a text, and text tab. So first let's talk about the toolbar, and that's right up here. This file, edit, view, and arrange. So here we have the file, and underneath file we have save. So anytime we move something, you can come up here and the first thing you'll see is save. We also have the save icon right here. And let me bring this up. Here we go. Next, underneath here, we have save as template. And I'll talk about templates here a little bit later in the webinar. No. To your question in chat, no, you cannot. Right here, we have save as click and go, and we will talk about these again here later on in the webinar. We have save as a practice page. We also have view as a PDF, and so you can also do that right here as a view page. You can also download this page as a JPEG or PNG. Next, we have edit. Here we have undo and redo. But also we have undo and redo right here. So we can always click this and undo or redo whatever each mistake or whatever move we just made. We also have our cut, copy, paste, delete, change background. We'll talk about backgrounds later on in the webinar. We could also change the shape of this on the fly, right, just like that. Right here we have view, so we can hide rulers or margins, but typically leave those alone. Here we can come down with the guidelines. We can uh, clear the guidelines. Now, what we talk about guidelines are these two little lines right here. So I can go up to this ruler right here, and as you can see, my cursor changes when I hover over it. So while hovered over it, I can click and hold, and I can drag this red line down. I can come over here. Again, my cursor changes. I can click and hold and pull this red line over. So what I can do is I can pull this over here, come up and pull this down here. And then we're going to back off just a little bit. So here you kind of see I can set up a grid so I can drag this folder up and I can put it right there. So I don't want this, I don't want any photos higher than this one right here. And so I can bring this one, put it right here. I can also say, well, I don't want any photos coming down any lower than this photo right here. So if I wanted to, I can set this, set this right here. I can set this a little bit lower. It just kind of helps you space things out, kind of set everything up. Then if you ever need those to disappear, or if you just want to remove them, they will not print with the book. They're just there for you as a guide. But if you ever need to clear them, just clear all guides, and you can see they're now all gone. Here's the zoom in and out. These last two are very helpful if you have other staff members working on the page. Um, One question we get quite often is, well, I had one person working on like on this case, page 10, and the other person working on page 11. Well, when person on page 10 saved, person on page 11 couldn't save anymore. And this is done for a reason, is to prevent any save conflict errors. So basically, whoever saves first owns the page. To prevent this, as you can see right in here, we have facing pages selected. And let's go fit, and let's go back up to view. If I do single page, yep, let's go ahead and save. Here you can see I see just page 10. And then I can work on page 10 while the other person works on page 11. This would prevents any save conflict errors, and it prevents anyone from having to save their image as a template and having to put it back on after they're done. To put it back, all you have to do is come over to view instead of single pages, facing pages, and you get both those pages back. Next is arrange. Here you have lock and unlock. If you click on an image and you want to lock it there, you can do one of two ways. You can come up to arrange and you can lock all, or you'll see a toolbar that just appeared. Um, so I click on the image, click off of it, and it disappears. We can come over all the way over here to this little padlock, click it, and I can lock it and unlock it. Also under group, we have a group and ungroup, so I can highlight these and I can group it this way, or I can highlight these and come over here and click this little button and I can group it. And you'll see that there's a dotted yellow line around them that lets me know that these objects have been grouped together. I'll show you where some templates are already pre-grouped, and it just helps you to be able to move them around without having to worry about clicking on one thing and then dragging it, and then the design is ruined or broken up. So again, if I ever need any of these ungrouped, I can come back over and right to the left of the padlock is ungrouped. I just click that, and then they're now ungrouped. Here we have a range I could bring to front, bring to back, and what that means is if I want to create a bit of a collage, but I want this image right here in front of this image. So I can click on it, come up to arrange, and I can say bring to front, and now that image is brought to the front. I can also come over here to the toolbar right here, click this, and here I can say send it back, and I can send it all the way to the back, or bring it all the way to the front. Here I can also flip it and rotate. So here are some other quick shortcuts. Here we again have the uh, undo and redo. Next we have the spell check. The spell check will catch most words, not all the words. Names you're going to have to double check because it may not understand that. It may show that Amy spelled Amie is spelled wrong, but it may be the correct way that they spelled it or that the child's name is spelled. It will not catch like the three theirs. So you're going to have to double check and really read what's there, but it will catch most common words. We also have the print preview. the virtual book. So if anytime you ever want to see your book done virtually, you can sit there and look through your book virtually. Here we also have the save icon right here. So anytime it's changed, you can click the save button right there. Here to the, reset this. Here to the left, we have the different tabs. We have the page tab. You can click this one and go through each one of your different pages without having to go back to the page ladder. Which makes navigating through your book a lot easier than having to go all the up to plan, page ladder, then finding out which page you need to go on, clicking on that page, and then doing your work on there. You can just click on here, just use your scroll wheel on your mouse, scroll up and down, or this little bar right here, scroll up and down, and just go back to the page, and you can start working on that page. Next, we have designs, which here we will talk about templates here in a second. Images, art, text, your flow, and your history, which we will also talk about history later on. Oop. All right. So next we're going to talk about photo boxes right here. If we go into art, you can see we have image frames. Here we can click and hold an image frame. We can bring it over here and we can always resize this image frame to a small image, to a large image, all that. And real quick right here, you can drag and drop images in there, no issue. If you ever see this, if you ever see it's red, what this is telling me that this image is smaller than the box I'm trying to put it in. So the system will not let me put an image in there because it will not let me put an image that will be distorted or stretched. So if you ever see this and you just click on it and just let it go, you'll see that nope, it's not going to let me. It's not going to let me put it in there because there's just enough of the box underneath it that it won't fit it in there. Easy way to combat that is to put that little box up a little bit. Then I can drop this right into there. So if you ever run into that, resize the box just a little bit and you can jump it in there. Just a minute. Yeah, if you send portraits in, it usually takes up to 5 days to get portraits uploaded. And we could talk about that here right after the webinar. All right, next under art, we also have shapes. So we have shapes right here that you could bring in. While they're still clicked, you'll see this toolbar right up here. Right up to the side right here, you'll see that there are different colors, and we can actually change the color of that shape. Then we could put that shape just over here, like this. And then if we remember, we could come up to arrange right here or arrange right here. And I could say send backward. Sending backward versus send to back. Sending backward goes one, send to back goes all the way to the back. So here I could send this shape right here and I could create a nice little frame around that image. Or I can shrink that up just a little bit, uh, put it right here, and then I can take that and I can stretch it even to the other side and leave that as a little design or a little page break. Text box right here, you can click and hold a text, bring it over, let it go, and here's a text box right here. A nice little trick, this little box right here, you can click and hold that and continue your text onto this page. So if I want to continue the text, here I'm continuing the text onto the next page. This helps if you have a photo right here, you could bring this up, bring this down right here, and you can continue your text or whatever you want to write. All right. So next we're going to talk about templates. We're going to talk about placing templates, saving custom templates, click and go, saving custom click and go templates, and show theme material such as some of your clip arts or some of the other uh, items that you can use. So placing templates is very easy. So we're going to come up here to design. And then right here, you will find all kinds of different templates. Under Page Surfer, we'll have your candids, your clubs, galleries, sports. Under Click and Go, you will find headlines, infographics, photo press. All right. And then, all right. Then under here, you'll also find your advertising. So here's some of your and here's some other templates for your advertising, your your students' names and pictures and stuff like that. So if we find a template that we like, you know, I can see your questions real quick. I'll answer those here in a minute. So under Page Surfer, we're going to go to Candids. So right here we have different candid pages. These are just regular photo pages. To add these, we're going to click and hold. We'll drag it over here. We'll let go, and it's just going to ask if you want to retain any existing content. So what that's asking is we're going to put a simple background here real quick. So what it's asking when I do that, it's asking, do you want to retain anything that's currently on the page? Right now, we currently have a background on the page. Do we want to retain it? If we say no, you can see our background is now gone. If we bring this over and we say yes, our background remains. So that's simply what it's asking you. All right. And then you can click and hold in this other one and bring it over here. It's going to ask you the same thing. And it's just that simple to bring in a template over to the next page. It's already sized for you. Everything is ready to go. All you have to do is come over to your images, grab your images, and drop your images into these boxes right here. Now, if we made this template right here and we want to save this template, and what we can do is we can come up here, which is actually a good idea to save any template that you make, because we can move those templates over to next year and you can use those templates next year. We're going to come over to File, and right here we're going to see it says Save as a Template. So we're going to call it, we're going to give it a name, and you can either save the left side, save the right side, or save both. Left and right would work is if this is like a portrait page that you made, um, both pages, but then you just need one on the left side. So I could say just the left side is all I need for the next page, and then you can save it that way. In this case, we're going to save both. We're going to come over here to save. And then once it's saved, we need to access this. We can come back up. Oh, images. Here's go design. We can come back up, and under custom, we have my click and go and my templates. If we click my templates, here we have a template that I saved. Here we have another one. And here we go. Here's the one I just saved right here. So these are all my templates. And like I said, if you want to use these for next year, we can sync with last year's. So 2024's book, I can sync it with 2023's and move these templates over. So next, we're going to talk about click and go. So here are some of these click and go. You have different. Well, let's move this over. So you have some different things you can use right here. If you want to bring in, let's go to let's go to images here, and we can bring this one over right here. Kind of bring this up, and then we can bring this little writing right here underneath it. And then this writing, we can alter this in any way we shape or we want. If we look, it's a dotted line, which tells us that it's grouped. So with it clicked, we come up to this toolbar that opened up all the way over to where this padlock is. Just to the left is ungroup. We can click ungroup. Once we do, you can see that all the solid yellow lines, that's everything that made up this little click and go. Now we can click on this and click on that, and we can actually edit what's in here. We can edit all the information that's here, and then we can save this. In fact, we can even click and hold and highlight all this if we want to save this as a click and go. We can come over here, we can go to arrange, group. We can go over to file, save as a click and go. And we can click save, come over to design, up to custom, my click and go, and then right here it is. So we can just upload that right there on the page. And if you need to change this image out, all you have to do is click on it, ungroup, go to your image, find a new image, place it in there, and you're good to go. So some of the theme material that you can use, or some of the other things, is there's a template exchange. So here's some of the things that like the community has created that you're free to use. Also, you can use. Okay. So next, let's talk about backgrounds, solid color, clip art, and themes. So here we have two different types of backgrounds. We have a solid color background, and then we have a background with a picture on it and all that. So to access the background, you can come up to Edit, Change Background, or we can right click and change background. Here we have left or right page, page color. So you can click on this down arrow right here. We can change the page color to anything that we want. Here we have the choose image. And then by default, it should take you to our default backgrounds right here. Here we have different types of backgrounds that you can use. These are just, anyone can use them. They're just regular default backgrounds. You can also use, go by category. So if you have a holiday page, click on holiday and just go through all the different holiday images that you want. If it has a red box around it, you can't use it because it won't fit on the page. If it doesn't, you can click on it and then you can use that as background. You can also use by cover, even if you didn't choose the cover. If there's something in there that you like, you can click on BU and say, "Oh, I really like that." So you can click on it and put it on there. You can even use, we'll come up here, by theme. if you have a theme for the yearbook and say it's bees, you can come over here and use every single one of these. Click on one and go ahead and use it. If you ever need to remove a background, you just click on this button right here, remove, and it just takes that background out of there. Here you can flip uh, if you want. You can also come over here and you can crop. So let's say you want to get rid of this little B style, or maybe you just want to move it up and concentrate on one little aspect of it. You can click on this crop, move this picture up and down, click off of it, and then there you go. You can also come up to tint, and you can, if you think it's too dark or too bright or whatever, you can come down and kind of make it a little bit of a transparency or take it down a little bit. Next, we're going to talk about some clip art. So under art, you'll see the clip art right here. We do have by category, by cover, by theme, by type. So you could do like headlines. So this is the class of 23. You could put it right there. Um, some of the other ones, you can put those right there. You can use anything under themes, anything under cover. So if there's something you like, you can use it. Uh, like I said before, you can use anything in our clip arts that you want. These are not exclusive or anything like that. So if you ever have to search, you can always come up right up here to the search and just say you want to search fire. You can search fire and anything that's fire related. Here's like a Fourth of July campfire, firefighters, anything like that. Next, we're going to talk about formatting. We're going to show you photo box formatting and effects, show shape formatting and effects, and show text formatting and effects. Um, so first, let's go with the photo. So let's go with the image and go with and we could just go with this image right here. So with this photo right here, we can do one of different things with it. We want to add a stroke line around it, kind of create a border around it. So you can click this little with the image clicked, you'll see the toolbar opens up right here. We can come up here to stroke style, click on this, and if you see it, it's there, but we can't really see it. So maybe if we bumped it up just a little bit, kind of can see it, kind of can see that it's something is there, but we need to change the color. Maybe we can see it better if we change the color. So we can come over here, click the down arrow. Here, used on page, this will tell us what colors are currently used on the page. You can also scroll down and say you want to choose a little more vibrant color, something that can be seen a little bit better. You can do that. Something else you could do is come over here to Format and Effects, this little magic wand, and we can round the corners. Uh, Real quick, if you ever need to move this box so you can see what you're doing, there's a little thumbtack right here you can click, and you can move this box over. So here we can round the corners if we want. We can make this a little bit of transparency, change the tint of it a little bit. Next is the drop shadow and glow. So we're going to click on drop shadow and we're going to change that to, so here we go. Let's go red. So the distance you can go from just barely off the photo, or you can go a little bit more off the photo. We'll just keep it over here so that way you can see it. The degree changes where that shadow is being cast or which direction it's facing. Occupancy lets us know we want a solid box or do we want a lighter box. So we could go solid and then blur will actually blur those edges and it kind of fade it into the background just a little bit. And then we change this, we can kind of see just a little bit of a glow. Next is the glow, and this one is going to be all the way around the box. So here we can change the occupancy. We're going to go all the way up so that way you can really see it. And the blur, you can go all the way out. And so you can kind of see a little bit of a glow all the way around the box. Next is the snap and edit feature. Here we can click on this. And if we ever want to change it to just a black and white photo, kind of go like old Western style, here you can change kind of the brightness, contrast a little bit, saturation, if you need to alter the image just a little bit. Next is mask over here. Click the eraser, brush size, tolerance level, and then the first mask area is transparency. So let's say we don't want this area right here. We want to concentrate just on the student alone. You can come over here and we'll do a little, there we go. And then we'll bring up the brush just a little bit and it won't be pretty, but it'll give you an idea of what we're going to do. Then we're going to save it. Then here you can see that it actually masked out everything in the background. So if I was to bring this photo over, and we're going to see, I'm going to send this to the back. Here you can see that it actually made it transparent. So that's now a transparency. One thing to remember, it will not alter the original design. It simply asks, we'll save it as a mask and as a separate photo. The original photo right here remains uh, unharmed, undone. So no changes to the original photo, just to the one that's on there, and just simply puts a mask on it. So if I was to come back over here, come back over to snap editing, mask, I can undo that mask, save it, and it puts the image right back. Next thing is the crop button. We showed this a little bit earlier with the background, but you can crop this image. So if you want to focus more on that student, you can, and let go. And then there's just the student, just a little bit more. So you can do the same thing. We can grab a shape right here. You can do the same thing with the shape. You can do the rounded corners. You can also do a, drop shadow, kind of a few things around here and all that. You can also do a glow on it, whatever. You can also move this up and place it place it behind the image as well. Text formatting, we have a style right here. We can pull this over and let's bring the text up a little bit more. Nope, is it up? If you ever see a red X like that, that means the text is larger than the box that it's in. So all we have to do is just make this box a little bit bigger. There we go. So what we can do is with this clicked, we can change the font to anything that we need. Change the font size. We can even change the color. With the A clicked with the solid black line underneath it, I can change it to this red color. With the empty box underneath the A right here, that's your outline. So I can actually change that outline, put a red on there. Next, I could put a stroke style around the box itself. I can make the italic underline. Here I can align it to the center, to the middle of the page. This spacing right here will help if you have a text box that's over something and you need to maybe move the wording up a little bit. So here you can maybe bring it down and it will move that wording up. You can see it kind of moves that wording up to just a little bit or down. So if you ever need to do that just a little bit, you can always use this to move the words. And here we can also change that, and we could change a little bit of a drop shadow, give it a little nice little drop shadow look to it. Next, we're going to talk about history tab right here. This history tab is for any reason that you need to bring back something. Um, you can always go back to your history, click and hold it, and bring it back to this page. Once we save something, you can see today we have this right here. This week we have this. You have older versions right here. This is all the way back to, go all the way down here. It's all the way back to when this book was first made or first brought online. And you can see 12/12/2021 when this book was first brought online. So I can go all the way back there, bring this, click and hold, bring this up, and bring this back. Also, a neat little trick too is right up here, as you'll see the page 016. So say there's something on 019 that I really want. I can click and hold, and I can bring that over the page. All right. All right. So with that, if there are any questions, we can go ahead and open it to any questions. All right. Yours.
Hi.
Hello. I still see yours in chat. I was going to get to it.
Yeah, that's my only real concern. I know like we got an email saying like cover was due already, but the lady that's working with us worked with us last year and she's like super flexible, but I just don't know how to design it on this so that she can then access it.
Okay. So real quick, your rep could do is add extra pages
Okay.
um, to the end of the book. Say like right here. This is here. Here's my cover right here.
Right.
Or you could choose the last two pages and just leave those be for right now. Then you can create your cover any way you want. Bring in any backgrounds you want. Any artwork that you want, as long as they're not copyright.
Right.
You could come up to the plan, go up to your fonts, use any of the fonts that we have currently on file, make
Okay.
anything that you want. And then once it's done, um, you can come up to page preview,
Mhm.
and then it takes a minute here because there's so much on there.
Yeah, that's okay.
But once it's done, then you can save it as a PDF and send it to your rep.
Okay, okay. So I could just
Just
use
let them
any
know. Yeah, let them know what's the front and what's the back.
Okay. So I could just use whatever page is in the book and then I could save it as a PDF. Once it's approved, I could just change those pages to whatever it will
Right.
be in the
Yeah. Please
yearbook.
let your rep know that that's what you're doing in the book
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, usually if you don't want more pages added, just use the last two pages in your book, and then once
Okay.
you have confirmation that your cover is there, um, and by the way, you can't actually see your cover. Go up to status and cover, and your cover will be right here.
Okay, great. Okay.
Little
Because I was
preview
just
of
like,
it. So,
because my the person who did the yearbook last year, they left our school. So my
okay.
assistant principal loaded all the pages from last year that they had used, but I'm like, there's no cover here. Like I don't understand how to do the cover, but okay. So I'll use the last two pages. I'll tell the rep, and then once it's all set, then I can change those pages from the book.
Yep.
All right, perfect. That was like my only really big question.
Yep, yeah, and that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I'd like
All
to
right, have
thank
a
you
nice
all
evening.
for joining us this afternoon. These demonstrations of the functions related to the creation of the activity page may help you when it comes time to build your yearbook. Using the templates already in the program and building your own templates should save some time and give the book continuity. Feel free to join us next for the next session, session 3, in the final steps of the yearbook process. In that session, we will have an extra webinar in which we talk about getting your book set up to be ready to submit and to complete it. What errors to look for, what things to do before you start submitting your book.